Welcome to our channel. Let's uncover the life story of Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. From serving tables in the Bronx to becoming one of the most influential voices in American politics, this is the extraordinary journey of a woman who refused to stay silent. Her story isn't just about politics. It's about courage, determination, and the power of fighting for what you believe in, even when the entire world seems against you. Born on October 13, 1989 in the Bronx, New York, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez entered a world where opportunity wasn't handed to anyone. Her father, Sergio Ocasio Roman, was an architect from the South Bronx, while her mother, Blanca Ocasio Cortez, cleaned houses and worked as a bus driver to make ends meet. The family later moved to Yorktown Heights in Westchester County, where Alexandria's parents sacrificed everything to give their children better educational opportunities. Growing up, Alexandria witnessed her parents' relentless work ethic firsthand. Her mother would wake up at dawn to clean houses before heading to her second job, while her father worked tirelessly to establish his small architecture practice. These early experiences of watching her parents navigate economic hardship while maintaining their dignity would shape Alexandria's understanding of working-class struggles and fuel her passion for economic justice. As a child, Alexandria was curious and outspoken. She asked questions that made adults uncomfortable and challenged ideas that seemed unfair. In high school, she participated in science fairs and debate teams, showing early signs of her analytical mind and persuasive abilities. Her teachers remember her as a student who wasn't afraid to speak up when she disagreed with something, even if it meant standing alone. The family faced their greatest challenge when Alexandria was in her sophomore year of college. Her father was diagnosed with lung cancer, and the medical bills began mounting. Despite having insurance, the family struggled with the financial burden. Alexandria watched her father fight the disease with the same determination he brought to everything else in his life. But in 2008, he lost his battle with cancer. This loss devastated the family, not just emotionally, but financially. Alexandria's mother faced the possibility of losing their home, and Alexandria herself wondered if she'd be able to continue her education at Boston University. But her father's death also ignited something inside her, a fierce determination to fight for families like hers who were being crushed by circumstances beyond their control. After graduating from Boston University with degrees in international relations and economics, Alexandria returned to the Bronx to help her mother save their home. She took a job as a bartender and waitress at Flat's Fix, a taco restaurant, while also working as an educational director for the National Hispanic Institute. Many people didn't know that the woman serving their drinks was organizing workshops for young Latino leaders and developing her political consciousness. During this period, Alexandria also worked as an organizer for Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential campaign. She witnessed firsthand how grassroots movements could mobilize ordinary people to demand extraordinary change. The experience opened her eyes to the possibility that someone like her, young, working class, and from a marginalized community, could actually make a difference in politics. The turning point came in 2017 when Alexandria was working at her restaurant job. A customer recognized her from her organizing work and suggested she run for Congress. At first, the idea seemed impossible. She was 28 years old, had no political experience, and would be running against Joe Crowley, a 10-term incumbent who was considered one of the most powerful Democrats in Congress. But Alexandria had learned something crucial from her father's death and her mother's struggle. Sometimes you have to fight battles that seem unwinnable, because that's the only way change happens. She decided to run, knowing she had almost no chance of winning, but believing that the message was more important than the outcome. Her campaign began in her mother's living room with a handful of volunteers and a budget that could barely cover basic supplies. She walked through neighborhoods that other politicians ignored, knocking on doors and listening to stories that sounded remarkably similar to her own family's struggles. She talked to people who had given up on politics because they felt nobody represented them. Alexandria's campaign message was simple but revolutionary. She believed that in the wealthiest country in the world, everyone deserved healthcare, education, and economic opportunity. She talked about the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, and housing as a human right. Established politicians dismissed her ideas as unrealistic, but voters heard something different. They heard hope. On June 26, 2018, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez shocked the political world by defeating Joe Crowley in the Democratic primary. The victory sent shockwaves through the political establishment and announced the arrival of a new generation of progressive leaders. At 29, she became the youngest woman ever elected to Congress. Her rise to fame was meteoric. Alexandria's ability to communicate complex policy ideas through social media, particularly Twitter and Instagram, revolutionized how politicians connect with constituents. She live-streamed herself cooking dinner while explaining legislation, posted behind-the-scenes content from Congress, and used her platform to educate millions of Americans about how their government actually works. But fame came with intense scrutiny and unprecedented attacks. Alexandria faced criticism not just for her policies, but for her background, her appearance, and even her decision to wear designer clothes to the Met Gala. She received death threats and was the target of conspiracy theories, yet she continued to speak out with the same fearlessness she'd shown since childhood. Her legislative work focused on climate change, workers' rights, and economic inequality. The Green New Deal, which she co-sponsored with Senator Ed Markey, became a defining piece of progressive legislation that shifted the national conversation about climate action. Though criticized by conservatives and some moderates, the proposal energized environmental activists and demonstrated how bold policy ideas could capture public imagination. Alexandria's personal life has remained relatively private despite her public prominence. She's been in a long-term relationship with Riley Roberts, whom she met at Boston University. She's been open about her struggles with mental health, particularly after the January 6th Capitol attack, and has used her platform to destigmatize conversations about therapy and trauma. Her net worth is estimated at around $300,000, relatively modest for someone of her fame. She's been transparent about her student loan debt and has spoken about the financial challenges of serving in Congress while maintaining a residence in one of the country's most expensive cities. Alexandria has also been involved in various business ventures and media appearances, including a documentary about her 2018 campaign and a children's book about her childhood. She's used her platform to promote causes she believes in, from supporting striking workers to advocating for Puerto Rico after natural disasters. What can we learn from Alexandria Ocasio Cortez's journey? Her story teaches us that change doesn't come from those who have always held power. It comes from those who have experienced struggle and refuse to accept that struggle as inevitable. She shows us that age, background, and resources don't determine who gets to shape the future. Most importantly, she demonstrates that authenticity and courage can overcome almost any obstacle. Alexandria's journey from bartender to congresswoman isn't just about one person's success. It's about what becomes possible when someone refuses to stay silent about injustice. Her story reminds us that the most powerful force for change isn't money or connections. It's the willingness to speak truth to power, even when your voice shakes. If you enjoyed this journey, like, comment, and subscribe for more legendary life paths only on Celeb Path.